हरे कृष्णा। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So welcome back to the fifth day of part 4 of this course, Rediscovering Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So we have been discussing from this book Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami. We are discussing the eastern section, second wave about Sadhana Bhakti, and currently we are discussing Angas of devotional service. In that we have been discussing the 5 most potent limbs. Within that, we completed two of the 5 most potent limbs, which are Shri Murter Angri Sevane Preeti, attachment to serving the lotus feet of the deity, and Shri Bhagavata Artha Aswadaha, relishing Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this, we discussed quite elaborately 2 full classes we dedicated to discussing this theme. First, we discussed in detail the meaning of this verse Nigama Kalpataror Galitam Phalam, which indicates the sweetness of Srimad Bhagavatam. That was an elaborate discussion, we will not get into that. Then we tried to discuss the second theme about should beginners not approach Srimad Bhagavatam, because there is a popular opinion that Bhagavatam is not for beginners because it is only for Paramahamsas, whereas beginners should study some other more preliminary basic books. But we saw elaborately from various sections of Srimad Bhagavatam about how why Vyasadeva compiled Srimad Bhagavatam, why Shukadeva Goswami compiled Srimad Bhagavatam, the purpose of Maitreya Muni compiling Srimad Bhagavatam, then what was the instruction of Narada Muni to Vyasadeva, and based on all these various understandings we tried to understand, we understood that practically each speaker of Bhagavatam had a common conditioned soul of this material world as the target audience for speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, to say that Bhagavatam is meant only for Paramahamsas is actually a baseless argument that is not supported by Bhagavatam itself. But still, nevertheless, the book is called as Paramahamsa Samhita because for 2 reasons. First reason being, the Paramahamsas can perfectly relish Srimad Bhagavatam. Vrajanti Tatcharana Saroruha Antikam. As soon as Ishvara Sadyo Hridyavarudyate Atra Kritibhish Tatru Shushrushibit Tatshanat. So if he is a Kritibhihi, if he is an accomplished pure devotee of the Lord, as soon as the words of Srimad Bhagavatam enters his heart, immediately the Supreme Lord manifests there. Whereas for a beginner who may not be on the platform of a Paramahamsa, Srimad Bhagavatam naturally takes him to the platform of Paramahamsa. So these are the 2 reasons why it is called as Paramahamsa Samhita. Therefore, one should not incorrectly interpret this phrase Paramahamsa Samhita indicating Srimad Bhagavatam to mean that unless you reach the stage of Paramahamsa, you cannot read Srimad Bhagavatam. So therefore, one should have a proper understanding of this thing. So therefore, beginners need not approach Srimad Bhagavatam with fear, or they need not wonder if Bhagavatam is meant for them and all these things. It is equally meant for perfected devotees and practicing devotees. This is the fact. So then the next theme that we discussed was uniqueness of Srimad Bhagavatam as compared to the other literatures. we saw that all the Puranas, they contain 10 topics. Atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanamutaya manvantareshanukata nirodho muktirashraya. So in that we saw that these 10 topics are there in all the Puranas, but in Srimad Bhagavatam specifically, these 10 topics are described, or the other 9 topics are described with the sole intent of bringing out the true understanding or the true appreciation of the 10th topic, that is Krishna. So therefore every single theme of Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for bringing a person closer to appreciating Krishna and understanding Krishna, which is described in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this we discussed in detail, but this consistent conclusion is not there. This consistent theme of linking every single topic seemingly unrelated to Krishna to directly or indirectly to glorification of Krishna, this consistency is not found in any other literature, including all the literatures written by Srila Vyasadeva himself. And this is according to the admission of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is according to the admission of Vidura himself, who was the son of Vyasadeva. Paravaresham Bhagavan Vratani Shrutani me Vyasamukad Abhikshnam Atrupnamak Shulla Sukavahanam Teshamrate Krishna Katamrata Oghat. So he frankly admits to Maitreya Muni that I was not really satisfied hearing all about the political intrigues and social situations, all these things described in Mahabharata, because it did not contain sufficient glorification of Krishna. My heart was never satisfied. Therefore I have come to you, O Maitreya, in order to hear about Srimad Bhagavatam. You please speak only those topics which are either directly glorifying Krishna or indirectly would lead to my developing an appreciation for Krishna. If it is not connected to Krishna, please don't speak it. This was the request of Vidura to Maitreya, and Maitreya obliged in response to Vidura's request. And Vyasadeva himself admitted to Narada Muni that Snatasya nyunam me alam vichakshva, he says. What is this? Why am I dissatisfied? There is something wrong. And he himself surmised that maybe I have not properly glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maybe I have not sufficiently glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like that he himself felt bad, and Narada Muni really confirms that yes, yata dharmadayas charta munivaryanu kirtitaha natata vasudevasya mahima hi anuvarnitaha. He says that to the extent you have glorified dharma, artha, kama and moksha, to that extent you have not glorified the Supreme Lord. And then that series of verses are beautiful section where Vyasadeva corrects all the mistakes that have been pointed out by Narada Muni and then comes up with this literature, Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calls this literature as Amala Puran, the spotless Purana. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted this literature as the Samam Bonam, as the Pramana. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumarto Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhor Matamidam Tatradaro Nappara. So this is the opinion of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are expected to accept these conclusions with great respect and honor. So this we saw, and then we finally ended with Rupa Goswami's indirect glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam, where he said, "Oh idiot, You know, I doubt that you must have been hearing the verses from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. How do you know? Because only such a person can reject the most attractive goals of dharma, artha, kama and moksha. Therefore, it is my guess that you must have been hearing from the 10th canto verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. Like that, he indirectly glorifies the reader of Srimad Bhagavatam, even though directly it may seem like he is criticizing him. So therefore, one who gets the taste of that Srimad Bhagavatam, nanyatra syat ratik kvachit, he cannot have attraction for anything else in this material world, including moksha. So, salokya sarshti samipya sarupya ekatvam apyuta diyamanam na grinanti vina matsevanam jana. So, such a person, even if the Supreme Lord himself personally comes and tells, here it is salokya sarshti samipya sarupya, which mukti you want? He says, oh, whichever one has ample service, that is what I want. And if none of these four kinds of liberations have any scope for service, then let me stay in this material world and serve. I see there is ample opportunities for serving here. So therefore, a devotee is not worried about staying in the material world. Rather, he says, Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. This material world is most wonderful place. There is happiness and happiness only. Why? Because there is unlimited scope for spreading the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So therefore, he is quite happy. So this is what we saw about the second of the five most potent limbs, which is Srimad Bhagavata Artha Aswadaha, relishing the sweet nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very, very potent limb. And we saw Srimad Bhagavata Arthanam Aswado Rasikaihi Saha. One should relish Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of great devotees. Then it becomes a very, very potent limb. Because as soon as you hear, you come together and start discussing that Krishna Katha, and then lot of nectar is churned out of such discussions. Then it becomes really wonderful nectar. Now, the third limb of Srimad, the third most potent limb is, we may say, Vaishnava Sangha. But Rupa Goswami says, no, not just Vaishnava Sangha. I will define. He says four characteristics. Sajatiya Ashe Snigde Sadhu Sangha Swatovare. Sajatiya Ashe means like-minded. Snigde means affectionate. Sadhu Sangha means devotee. Swatovare means more elevated than oneself. So, an association should have these four factors. Then that association of Vaishnavas becomes an extremely potent limb, elevating one very, very quickly on the path of devotional service. So we will try to understand this theme little more in detail. So first we will start by seeing what are the glories of association of devotees. So Srila Rupa Goswami quotes this very famous verse from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Shaunakadi rishis are appreciating and expressing their gratitude for the association of Suta Goswami. They say, Tulayamala venapi nasvargam na punarbavam bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kimutasishah. So they say, lavena api, one lava is, I think 1/16th of a second or something like that. The description is there in Srimad Bhagavatam 3rd canto 11th chapter. So one lava, which means 1/16th of a second, cannot be of association with a Vaishnava, cannot be compared with the bliss of Swarga, na apunarbhavam, not even with the bliss of liberation, he says. One moment's association with a devotee cannot be even compared to liberation. Bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kimusas utasisha. What then to speak of things of this material world which are meant to perish? So, once there were two brothers. One was the younger brother had the association of Narada Muni somehow. So he became a wonderful devotee. The elder brother was not a devotee. But the younger brother had lot of affection for his elder brother. So he wished very deeply, if only Narada Muni could give some association to my elder brother, he will also become a wonderful devotee. So he went and requested his guru, Narada Muni, that my dear Guru Maharaj, can you please give some association to my elder brother also? He will also become a great devotee. So Narada Muni said, okay, I will do my part. So Narada Muni agreed, he came. He tried to give some association to the elder brother, but the elder brother was not very receptive. He was not interested in these kind of subject matters. So Narada Muni tried for a while, but then at the end he told the elder brother, look, forget about whatever we spoke. Just one thing you please remember. Whenever you are in the greatest trouble, just ask this one question. What is the value of a moment's association of a sadhu? So when you are in deep trouble, ask this one question. And then Narada Muni left. Few years passed and the elder brother passes away from this material world. And suddenly he finds himself in front of Yamaraj in Yamaloka. And Yamaraj is listing one after another all the various kinds of sinful activities that he had done, for which he was going to receive severe punishments. So that was the time when he felt that he was in the greatest trouble. He was so scared, but somehow he remembered what Narada Muni told. So he asked Yamaraj, can you please tell me what is the value of a moment's association with a sadhu? Yamaraj was shocked. Yamaraj said, look, I know it's very valuable, but I don't know how valuable it is. But let's go, and I am also eager to know. So they both went to Brahmaloka. And both of them went and asked Brahmaji, my dear Brahmaji, can you please tell what is the value of a moment's association of a sadhu? Brahmaji said, actually I know that it is very valuable, but I don't know how valuable it is. Come, let's go to Kailash and we will ask Lord Shiva. So they approached Lord Shiva and they asked, can you please tell what is the value of a moment's association of a sadhu? Lord Shiva says, Vaishnavanam yata Shambhu, the greatest of the Vaishnava, he says, actually I know it's very valuable, but I don't know how valuable it is. Come, let's all go to Vaikunta and ask Lord Vishnu himself. So all four of them, that elder brother, Yamaraj, Brahmaji and Lord Shiva, all four of them go to Vaikunta and they offer their obeisances to Lord Vishnu. And they ask, my dear Lord, can you please tell us what is the value of a moment's association of a sadhu? So, Lord Vishnu, he thinks for a while and then he tells them, okay, now you all may go back to your abodes. Just go back to your abodes. And they were amused. Why is not Lord Vishnu answering this question? But anyway, when Lord Vishnu gives an order, there is no one in this universe who can reject it. So they all start leaving, and then Yamaraj tells that elder brother, okay, come. We have to go. Lord Vishnu says, no, you can leave him here. And the three of you can go back to your abodes. Then all three of them get shocked. They turned back and asked Lord Vishnu, but why? And Lord Vishnu said, you only asked me the question. What is the value of a moment's association with a sadhu? The value of that association is his place in Vaikunta is booked. So you all can go back to your abodes, he can stay here. So, but the real secret of this whole episode is that at some point the elder brother chose to follow Narada Muni's instructions. He actually asked Yamaraj, he trusted Narada Muni, and he asked Narada Muni, and he followed the instructions of Narada Muni, and he asked Yamaraj, what is the value of a moment's association with a sadhu? So real sadhu sangha means actually to follow in the instructions of that sadhu. Whether it may be sadhu in the form of one's guru, sadhu in the form of other senior exalted Vaishnavas, sadhu in the form of the literary characters also. One can get the association of Narada Muni by following his instructions from Srimad Bhagavatam. So, when one invests the trust in the sadhus and tries to follow their instructions, then one immediately gets that sadhu sangha. Then, tulayama lavenapi nasvargam na punarbhavam bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kimutasishah. That is sadhu sangha. Sadhu sangha means service, serving Vaishnavas. Sadhu sangha means coming together and discussing Krishna Katha, hearing Krishna Katha. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So, it is mentioned that Macchitta Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Katayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. It is mentioned that when there is a Vaishnava who can hear Krishna Katha, the person speaks. When there is another Vaishnava who can very nicely speak Krishna Katha, he will sit and hear. When there is no second Vaishnava present, then he will spontaneously sing the glories of the Supreme Lord. This is the meaning of association. So association means service, association means discussion of Krishna Katha, association means trust in the other Vaishnava, and association means following the instructions. So when these aspects are there, and association also means asking, making genuine enquiries. So, tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So, pranipat refers to humbling oneself. Pariprashna refers to asking relevant inquiries, relevant questions, and sevaya indicates serving. This is true association. So that's what here he says, that the value of a moment's association of a sadhu has nothing to compare within this material world. What to speak of this material world, even in liberation cannot be compared to a moment's association of a sadhu. So, Srila Jiva Goswami says, Bhagavat Sangi Sangha means association with persons who are attached to the Lord. Sangha means attachment, and he who constantly has that attachment to the Lord is called Sangi. Even a moment's association with such a person cannot be compared to attaining the heavenly planets. In praising the association of devotees, the sages at Naimisharanya show that they also have a similar desire. Actually, even though this is a generic statement made by the sages of Naimisharanya, Shaunakadi rishis to Suta Goswami, the actual sadhu whom they are talking about is actually Suta Goswami. What they are actually saying is, "Oh Suta Goswami, we really appreciate your association, and we will not trade this association that we are getting from you with any benediction of this material world, including liberation." So this also indicates their affection for Suta Goswami, which is the second element. Sajatiya ashe snigde. Snigde means affectionate. There is another similar verse spoken by Lord Shiva to Prachetas. The second, third and fourth lines are exactly same, and in the first line only the unit of time has been changed from lava to kshana, but more or less same thing. Kshanardena pitulaye naswargam na punarbhavam bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kimutasishah. Same meaning. So here Srila Jiva Goswami says, this verse actually indicates how much we should speak of the glories of the great ocean of association of devotees who are right in front of us. Which means, first thing is we have to stay with devotees. The next level is we have to appreciate that association. The third is we have to express that appreciation to the other person. This is very important. We have to express to others how much we value their association. And we should not be foolish to compare a moment's association of such sadhus who are attached to the Supreme Lord with Swarga, which is the ultimate result of karma, or liberation, which is the ultimate goal of jnana or yoga. Even the ultimate perfection of karma or jnana or yoga cannot be compared to even a moment's association with a sadhu. So this is because from the association of sadhu, the sprout of bhakti, which is the rarest commodity in this whole world, muktim dadati karhichit smana bhakti yogam. The Supreme Lord will very easily give mukti, but He will not give bhakti. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma kotishvapi mahamune. Amongst millions and millions of liberated souls, to find one person who has bhakti in his heart, pure devotional service in his heart, is extremely rare. And that bhakti sprouts in the association of devotees. We should not even compare the complete results of karma and jnana with a moment's association with a devotee, or even with a small particle of sadhana bhakti. The person may be struggling with his conditionings, but still his position is more glorious than a person who has achieved liberation. So if that is the potency of one moment's association with a devotee, what to speak of association for a long duration? And even more, what to speak of the bhakti which results from such an association? Even more, what we can say about attaining prema, which is the result of that bhakti? So all these comparisons are suggested in this verse. They are not explicitly mentioned, but this is the suggestion. If one moment's association is so potent, what if we have a long duration of association? And what if that long duration of association gives rise to bhakti within the heart? And what if that bhakti matures into prema? So therefore, it is like comparing. You can compare Mount Meru with the Himalayas. A reasonable comparison. But if you compare Mount Meru with a mustard seed, it is a very unfair comparison. So therefore he says, comparing one moment's association with a sadhu even to liberation is like a very unfair comparison, like comparing Mount Meru with a mustard seed. And Martyanam kimutashisha tulayama lavenapi na swargam na punarbhavam bhagavat sangi sangasya Martyanam kimutashisha. The verb is in the plural number, Martyanam kimutashisha, indicating that this is not just one person's opinion, this is the consistent opinion of all the Shastras and all the great devotees of the Lord. So this, like that, they are indicating. So, what is the potency of a Vaishnava? What is the potency of a Vaishnava? The Shastras say, in a pure Vaishnava's heart resides the Samvit, Sandhini and the Hladini potency of the Supreme Lord. The knowledge potency, the existential potency and the bliss potency of the Supreme Lord exists within the heart of a Vaishnava. Therefore, when we come in touch with such a Vaishnava, we immediately receive Krishna Bhakti. Therefore, the foot wash of a Vaishnava, the foot dust of a Vaishnava and the food remnants of a Vaishnava are considered very, very auspicious, very powerful to help one progress on the path of devotional service. Bhakta pada duliyara bhakta pada jal bhakta bhukta avasheshati namahabal. So these three are said to be powerful strengths for a person wanting to progress on the path of devotional service. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, if one stays for a short duration of time near a Vaishnava, one can experience the flow of bhakti energy from his heart to our heart. And he says, then one can bind that energy to one's heart. And in this way, one will develop tremendous faith and progress really fast on the path of devotional service. So therefore, and such a person will, even if he was a non-devotee, will start chanting the holy name of the Lord, and by the power of that holy name, he will receive all good qualities. And this is the particular power of the Uttamadhikari. So therefore, the potency of a Vaishnava is tremendous. In fact, to practice bhakti is impossible in the absence of Vaishnava association. Prabhupada calls it hallucination. To think that without the association of devotees, I can independently practice bhakti, Prabhupada says it's hallucination. We are just hallucinating. It's not real. It is not possible. Where will we get the strength? Ekaki amar nahi paya bala harinama sankirtane. So it is not possible, Narottam Das Thakur says that I don't have the strength to even chant the holy names. Tumi kripa kori shraddha bindu diya. He says, Tumi kripa kori shraddha bindu diya deho Krishna nama dhane. So this is, only a Vaishnava can do this. Alone, Narottam Das Thakur says, I don't have the strength even to chant the holy name of the Lord. I need a Vaishnava's association to give me faith even to chant the holy name. Deho Krishna nama dhane. That wealth of holy name in the form of faith in the holy name is received only in the association of devotees. So therefore, we should really understand and appreciate the potency of Vaishnava association. So now, having understood the potency of Vaishnava association, how should we choose our association of Vaishnavas? As we saw, 4 elements of a potent association is given by Rupa Goswami, and we will discuss the first element of that, which is Sajatiya Ashaya. Sajatiya Ashaya means heart or mind, and Sajatiya means similar. Sajatiya Ashaya therefore means like-minded. There are many levels of understanding of like-mindedness. For those who have just stumbled upon bhakti, those who are just beginners in bhakti, like-minded association means devotees association. Oh, is he a devotee? He is worth associating with. Is he a non-devotee? He is not worth associating with. So, in the beginning stages of Krishna consciousness, the meaning of like-mindedness is any devotee association is like-minded association. Any non-devotee association is not like-minded association. So, this is the first level. Then once we have learnt to take only association of devotees and have spent sufficient time spending time with the devotees, then the definition becomes little more refined. Then the understanding of like-mindedness is where we may share a common goal of success, where we may share a common liking for a particular limb of devotional service, where we may share a common appreciation for the same spiritual master and his teachings. So these becomes, so the definition becomes little more refined. One may come together along with like-minded God brothers, hearing their spiritual master speak. That is like-minded association. Or one may come together with 2 people who may share a common appreciation of kirtan, may come together and bond over a chanting session of kirtan. Or 2 devotees who may share a common appreciation of the process of studying Srimad Bhagavatam, discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, may come together and discuss. Or it could even be one of them may have a great taste for speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, another person may have a great taste for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. This is also Sajatiya Ashaya, like-minded association. How like-minded? Both appreciate Bhagavatam. So in this way, when one spends sufficient time in devotional service and has learned to associate only with devotees, then within the association of devotees, one will search out for like-minded association, meaning association of those devotees who may share a common taste for a particular limb of devotional service. Then, in this way, when one progresses still further and reaches the stage of ruchi or asakti, where their greed for a particular relationship with Krishna manifests, when they reach the stage of raganuga sadhana, where they have identified a particular relationship that they yearn for with Krishna in one of the 5 rasas, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya and Madhurya, then Sajatiya Ashaya or like-minded association would become another devotee who is similarly aspiring for the same mood of relationship with Krishna. He becomes Sajatiya Ashaya relationship. So in this way, like-minded relationship is very, very vital in having a relishing journey towards back to Godhead. Just like if there is a big difference between traveling alone and traveling with a group of friends who appreciate, having fun the same way. They all may have a same definition of having fun. Whatever it could be just pulling each other's leg, it could be just singing their way throughout. They all might have their own musical instruments. So they might get together in the train and one might play the guitar, another might play the drums, another might play the harmonica, another might play the harmonium, and another person may sing. And in this way, so when there is like-minded association, the journey becomes very pleasurable. So, or like-minded association could even mean, family, where there is a common father, common mother, the common blood is just sajati ashe. Just as they say, blood is thicker than water. So naturally family members are sajati ashe, like-minded association. Mostly, in some cases it may be different also. Like that. So there is a famous verse which the Acharyas very often quote. This is from the book Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya, where it is mentioned, Yasya yat sangati pumso manivat syat satat gunaihi swakula ridyai tato dhiman swayutan eva samshrayet. It is mentioned that a person tad gunah syat, he will attain similar qualities. Yasya yat sangati, he will attain the same qualities as the person with whom he associates with. Jaisa sang, vaisa rang. The way whom we associate with, that same qualities that we get. Just as it is mentioned, tell me who your friends are and I will tell you who you are. So naturally, we will be influenced by our association. So manivat, just like a transparent crystal, when a person comes in front of that crystal wearing a yellow t-shirt, it will shine yellow. Blue t-shirt, blue. Red t-shirt, red, like that. So, therefore, dhiman, therefore the wise person, swayutaneva samshrayet, he will take shelter of only those persons who have a quality similar to himself. Swakula ridyai, for the prosperity of his family. Like a person who really wants to score very well in his exams will try to seek the association of similarly studious people. Swakula ridyai, one who is concerned about prosperity, one who is concerned about prospering as a student, he will seek out association of similarly studious students. One who is very eager for prosperity in terms of wealth will similarly seek out the association of those who are very astute businessmen, or he will go to a school, a business school where such kind of business tactics are taught. Swakula ridyai tato dhiman swayutaneva samshrayet. He will try to take association of shelter of those who have similar qualities. So this verse talks about the importance of association in shaping our character, in shaping our qualities. Now, can you guess who speaks this verse to whom? I will give you a few seconds to guess. I am sure you must be ready with few guesses, but the answer is, this is spoken by Hiranyakashipu to Prahlad Maharaj. An instruction to Prahlad Maharaj. Choose your association wisely, my dear Prahlad. See how potent association is. You got the association of Narada Muni while you were within the womb of your mother. Even though, at such a stage, you could not hear and comprehend anything. but still you have developed such low qualities. Now I am telling you, take association of friends who are best amongst the asuras, so that you can develop wonderful asuric qualities like me. So he used the right example, and the acharyas are quoting this example. In a book like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, they are quoting Hiranyakashipu, because the generic principle that he has presented is right. Even though the utility of that principle, he has made it according to his demoniac nature, but the generic principle is right. The potency of association is tremendous actually. So therefore here Swayutan refers to Sajatiya Ashe. Similar, like-minded association. So this is the first of the four elements of a relationship is Sajatiya Ashe. One should be like-minded. And like-minded association should be chosen according to one's own devotional development, and also it depends on availability of such an association. As it is mentioned that while Srila Haridas Thakur was, even though he was Namacharya, chanting 192 rounds every day, but nevertheless he had tremendous appreciation of the association of devotees. So while he was in Jagannath Puri, after chanting 192 rounds, he used to extensively participate in preaching and kirtan programs and Krishna Katha programs with all the devotees. He used to take great pleasure associating with devotees. And the same is true with when he would visit Advaitacharya in Shantipur or in Kulinagram to spend time with the Kulinagram Vasis. But when he was in places like Benapol and other such places where such an association was not available, he would just sit and chant. So therefore, like-minded association should be chosen according to our level of devotional development, and it also depends on availability of it. So if such an association is not available, then one has to take shelter of one's own devotional practices for a brief while searching for such an association elsewhere. Association is vital, but nevertheless if it is not available, then one will have to settle with whatever one has. So one may be at the level of Raganuga, but he may not have a Sajatiya associate who may be aspiring for the same rasa of relationship with Krishna. Then he may have to settle down for the second level Sajatiya Ashe relationship, where he may have to look for an exalted devotee who may share a liking for the same limb of devotional service. If that is also not available, then he will have to search for an association in the first category. Is there at least some devotee association available? I will take. So in this way, so it depends on one's level of devotional development, and also it depends on the availability. So one should not complain. One can always choose from one of these three categories, and if nothing is available, we can preach to someone and create association for ourselves. But the important thing is Sajatiya Ashe. We must have like-minded association. Now the second element is called as Snigdhe. Snigdhe means affectionate. So how do you create affectionate association? Srila Rupa Goswami gives very important instruction in the Nectar of Instruction. Dadati pratigrihnati guhyamakyati pritchati bhungte bhojayate chaiva shadvidam priti lakshanam. He says through these 6 exchanges, Dadati pratigrihnati, give some gifts and accept some gifts in return. bhunkte bhojayate. Feed some prasadam, invite someone over for dinner prasadam or lunch prasadam. And sometimes when they invite you, you can accept. And guhyam akyati pruchati. Sometimes we may have a need of revealing our heart in confidence to a devotee in whom we trust. And sometimes when they want to reveal their heart in confidence, we should have the time and priority to sit and listen to that person with empathy. So sharing one's heart in confidence and hearing with empathy. So these are the 6 exchanges which are symptoms of existence of affection between the two. These are the symptoms of existence of affection, and these 6 items when carried out, they enhance the affection also. So of these 6, first 2 and last 2, giving gifts, accepting gifts, offering prasadam and accepting invitations for prasadam, these 4 limbs are preliminary limbs. They are preliminary limbs. And it lays a very strong foundation for the middle 2 limbs to manifest. So, when we are traveling from one temple to another temple, we could carry some Mahaprasadam, offer it to some friends there, like that. So, in this way, the relationship builds. And at some point, it may come to the level where we feel very comfortable and we can invest our full trust in the other person, that we are willing to open our hearts and reveal the deepest secrets which have been hiding in our heart for a long time. We have full trust that this person will not exploit, whatever I am revealing to him. And in the same way, when the other person wants to reveal, we have the time for it and we prioritize. Yes, this is important. What better activity can be there than to be there for my friend and hear from him what he wants to share? He seems to be in anxiety. What can be a higher priority than to sit and hear from him? This is Sneha Sambandha. This is Snigdhe. So by these 6 exchanges, they breed affectionate relationships, which are extremely vital for one's progress in devotional service. So Srila Prabhupada, commenting in the purport to this particular verse in Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada says, even in ordinary social activities, these 6 types of dealings between 2 loving friends are absolutely necessary. Even in material world we see. For instance, when one businessman wishes to contact another businessman, he arranges for a feast in a hotel. Bhunkte bhojayate. And over the feast, he openly expresses what he wishes to do. Guhyamakyati. He then inquires from his business friend how he should act. Pruchati. Guhyamakyati pruchati. Bhunkte bhojayate cheva. And sometimes presents are exchanged. Dadati pratigrinnati. So Prabhupada gives an example from the business world. Even in business world it happens. Thus, whenever there is a dealing of preeti or love in intimate dealings, these 6 activities are executed. So therefore, we should not be miserly in spending our time, energy and resources in these 6 exchanges. And it is actually very insignificant what we are spending in terms of time, energy and resources for these, in these 6 activities is actually insignificant compared to what we gain in return. What we gain in return is actually the association of a devotee. Tulayama lavenapi naswargam napunarbhavam. We are going to gain something which is which cannot be compared to Swarga or even liberation, then why should we be miserly why should we think about spending some time, some energy, some wealth? What is the problem? So one should not worry at all, because what we gain in return is the most valuable thing. Love of a Vaishnava, sadhu preeti, sadhu prema. This is most valuable commodity. In the previous verse, Srila Rupa Goswami advised that one should renounce worldly association and keep company with the devotees. Sangatyagat sato vritte. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness has been established to facilitate these 6 kinds of loving exchanges between devotees. So Prabhupada says the purpose of ISKCON is to facilitate these 6 exchanges with the devotees. The life of the Krishna Conscious Society is nourished by these 6 types of loving exchange among the members. Nourished. Nourishment, spiritual nourishment comes from these kind of 6 exchanges with devotees. Therefore, people must be given the chance to associate with the devotees of ISKCON, because simply by reciprocating in these 6 ways mentioned above, an ordinary man can revive fully his dormant Krishna consciousness. Just by these 6 exchanges, an ordinary man can revive fully his dormant Krishna consciousness. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha. One's desires and ambitions developed according to the company one keeps. Therefore, we should not underestimate the company that we have. And we should not overestimate our own potential in individually traversing the path of devotional service. One needs loving associates. One needs like-minded associates. Sajatiya ashe snigde. It is often said that a man is known by his company, and if an ordinary man associates with devotees, he will certainly develop his dormant Krishna consciousness. So this is the meaning of Sajatiya ashe snigde. Of course, the third thing is sadhu sangha. It has to be a devotee only. But the fourth thing is swato vare. One should be more advanced than oneself. There are 2 meanings of swato vare. One is the other person should be more advanced than oneself. And the other meaning is the 2 people are so advanced that when they come together, they mutually inspire each other tremendously in Krishna consciousness. So 2 equals can also come together when there is like-mindedness and affection and a sincere commitment to practicing devotional service, then they both can inspire each other tremendously in Krishna consciousness. So, in the next verse to Nectar of Instruction, Srila Rupa Goswami says, how do you choose your association? He says, Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta dikshasti chet pranatibhischa bhajantamisham Shushrushaya bhajana vigyamananya manya nindadishunya hridamipsita sangalabdya. He says, Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta. If a person is willing to chant the holy names, willing to practice bhakti, then you mentally honor that person and have these 6 exchanges with that person. Dikshasti chet bhajantamisham. If he is qualified for diksha and if he is worshipping the deities, then it means he is more advanced. Then what should you do? you should offer obeisances to that person and have these 6 exchanges with that person. Shushrushaya bhajana vigyam ananyam anya nindadi shunya hridam ipsita sangalabdya. But you should deeply hanker for that association and serve that person if you have an opportunity. That person who is bhajana vigyam, ananya bhajana vigyam, who is an expert in practice of devotional service, pure devotional service, and anya nindadi shunya hridam, and whose heart is completely free of the propensity to criticize others. He is the Uttama Vaishnava. You should serve him, you should take his association, you should always hanker for his association, and then have these 6 exchanges. So if one is most fortunate that he has the association of a Uttama Vaishnava, then have these 6 exchanges and serve him, hanker for his association, hear from him. But if one is not so fortunate, but one has the fortune of associating with a Madhyama Vaishnava, offer him obeisances with great respect and have the 6 exchanges with him. If one is still not fortunate, one has only the association of those people who are willing to practice Krishna consciousness, encourage them, be kind to them, give them your time, energy and priority, and have these 6 exchanges with them. They will also rise in Krishna consciousness and they will be wonderful company to keep. So therefore, in this way, we can create association through which we can get tremendously inspired. So in this way, how to choose that association? One should know how to discriminate between Vaishnavas, not in the sense of judging them, but in terms of aspiring, properly reciprocating with them in the right way, according to their level of development. So Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport of this verse, in order to intelligently apply the 6-fold loving reciprocations mentioned in the previous verse, one must select proper persons with careful discrimination. So if you want to have these 6 exchanges, with proper discrimination one should select that association. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore advises that we should meet with the Vaishnavas in an appropriate way according to their particular status. In this verse he tells us how to deal with the 3 types of devotees, the Kanishtadhikari, the Madhyamadhikari and the Uttamadhikari. But most importantly, we may get the proper association, we may be willing to have these 6 exchanges, but don't think that developing relationship will be easy despite finding a like-minded Vaishnava and who may be advanced, but still developing relationship will not be easy, because the more closer we come, the more we will start seeing that person's faults also. So therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami gives very valuable advice. Drishtair svabhava janitair vapushascha doshair na prakritatvam iha bhakta janasya pashyet gangam vaso na kalu budbudafena pankair brahmadravatvam apagacchati neera dharmair. Drishtair svabhava janitair vapushascha doshair. When you come in association with devotees, whether they are Kanishta Vaishnavas or Madhyama Vaishnavas or Uttama Vaishnavas, you may start seeing some Swabhava Janitair dosha, some faults due to their past conditionings, some idiosyncrasies. Either the way they chew their food, sometimes they chew in such, such a way that it makes so much sound and it is very irritating. Or sometimes Vaishnavas may have the habit of, unconsciously, when they become very alert, their hand will naturally go to their mouth and they will start biting their nails. A habit which they may be carrying over from their pre-Krishna conscious days. or sometimes people may put their hand in their nose, ears, like that. So we may see that and we may start criticizing them. Swabhava janitair dosha or vapushascha dosha. We may have some devotees who may have some bodily deformities. Like, they may have ugly features, like that. And or sometimes that bodily deformity may be an indication of their past sinful life also. Like they may have teeth which may have tobacco stains. That is vapushascha dosha, a bodily deformity which may be indicative of past sinful life. Na prakritatvam bhakta janasya pashyet. Srila Rupa Goswami says, don't even see it as material, but because it will not generate any karma for them. And it is not a product of their karma also. Gangambaso nakalubudbuda fena pankair, brahmadravatvam apagachati neera dharmair. During the monsoon season, the waters of Ganga may be very muddy and filled with bubbles and foam, which are indicative of, dirty water. But one should not think that water, Ganga water, which may look dirty, is incapable of purifying us. That is not true. Brahmadravatvam apagachati. The real purifying nature of Ganga is not gone. Similarly, even though we may see some faults in a Vaishnava, his ability to purify, in that association. So, sadhya punantyupasprishta svardunyapo nusevaya yesham samsmaranat pumsam, not that verse. Another similar verse in the first canto, it is mentioned that sadhya punantyupasprishta svardunyapo nusevaya. What is the difference between Ganga and Vaishnava? So Parikshit Maharaj says that Ganga purifies a person who takes bath in Ganga after some time. But a Vaishnava immediately purifies. Sadhya punantyupasprishta, when you touch or when you come in touch with a Vaishnava, purification is immediate. But with Ganga, it is gradual. So that way Vaishnava's association is very, very potent. So therefore, one should be very careful about avoiding these kind of offenses. Offensive mentality can come. One should be careful. And according to Srimad Bhagavatam, the easiest way to develop loving relationships with Vaishnavas actually costs 0 rupees, $0, 0 pounds, whatever way you may want to see. The easiest way and the most potent way of developing loving relationships with Vaishnavas does not cost a penny. So what is that way? By coming together and discussing Krishna Katha. What happens in that association? Srimad Bhagavatam says, Parasparanukathanam pavanam bhagavad yashah mitoratir mitotushtir nirvritir nivrittir mita atmanah. So one of the Navayogendras, his name is Prabuddha. He speaks to Nimi Maharaj in the 11th canto. In the first few chapters, instructions of the Navayogendras to Nimi Maharaj. He says, Parasparanu Kathanam Pavanam Bhagavad Yashah. When two devotees or a few devotees come together to discuss the most purifying discussions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, 3 things happen. Mito Rati. Mito Rati means a very powerful mutual affection develops between the two of them. The more time they spend discussing Krishna Katha, the more the association, the friendship develops between the two of them. Because generally when two people come, when person 1 speaks to person 2, person 1 generally speaks about his own glories. Then person 2 speaks about his own glories. And person 1, when he is glorifying himself, person 2 hears only because as soon as he stops, he can glorify himself. And if he does not hear that person glorifying himself, then he will not hear, person 2 will not hear person 1 glorifying himself. So therefore, even though people may spend time together glorifying each other, it never leads to a thick friendship, a deep friendship. But when two people come together to discuss Krishna Katha, both are glorifying Krishna. So therefore, that kind of spending time together leads to the development of a very deep bond. This is the first benefit. Mito rati. A strong mutual affection develops between the two of them. Second is mito tushti. Mito tushti means both become completely satisfied in each other's association. To the extent that when they come together, they don't realize how time has passed so fast. They are already lamenting, oh, the time for separation has come. So how long will it take till we again meet and discuss Krishna Katha like this? And they really don't want to separate. They want to just continue discussing Krishna Katha. So in this way, hours and hours pass without noticing that time has passed. Why? And they don't need a smartphone to stay satisfied. So they are just happy in each other's association discussing Krishna Katha. Mito tushti. It makes both of them happy and satisfied in each other's association. And the third is nivrittir mita atmanaha. Both of them, by discussing Krishna Katha with each other, get a positive impetus to overcome the pull of Maya. Person 1 sees that person 2, he tells person 2, oh, I know that you were suffering with this problem few years back, but of late I don't see you suffering at all. But I am suffering very deeply because of this obstacle, lust, anger. Can you please tell me how you overcame? Then person 1 says, look, I did this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing. 4 things I did. And when I followed it, it had tremendous impact. And person 2 says, really? I will also try from today. If you are successful, then with your mercy, I can also be successful. So in this way, both of them get positive inspiration to overcome their anarthas in the association of devotees. So therefore, the most potent way, the easiest way to develop loving relationship with other devotees, as we said, does not cost a penny. Come together and discuss Krishna Katha. Mito ratir, mito tushtir, nivrittir mita atmanaha. Like that. Then, the last theme that we will discuss today is how association of devotees is actually more glorious than association of the Supreme Lord. This may seem like stretching it too much, but this is the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam. Every great devotee who has spoken in Srimad Bhagavatam, when he got an opportunity to ask for a benediction from the Supreme Lord, invariably all of them asked for association of devotees. And all these people had association of the Lord. If the association of the Lord is the most valuable thing, then the devotees should have told, oh, actually, what will I need in return? I have your association. But despite having the association of the Lord, if they ask for association of devotees, then this means that association of devotees is more valuable than association of the Supreme Lord. This is not to actually show that the association of the Supreme Lord is inferior, but it is just to show how glorious is the association of devotees. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, Gaura Amar Jesabastane Karalo Brahmana Range, Sesabastana Heribo Ami Pranayi Bhakata Sange. He says, even holy places are not so holy in the absence of devotees. When you go to such holy places in the association of Pranayi Bhakata, he says that wherever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has toured, whichever places he has visited, I would like to go and visit those places, he says. Sesabastana Heribo Ami. But he says, Pranayi Bhakata Sange, in the association of Pranayi Bhakata, loving devotees who have great attraction and appreciation for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when they glorify Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when they glorify that place as being the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed such wonderful pastimes, then our appreciation of that place really increases in the association of devotees. So appreciation of any limb of devotional service gets greatly enhanced in the association of devotees. So that's why once I had some of my relatives visit this place, Govardhan Eco Village. So I was taking them on a small tour. We had seen many places and I was telling some short stories about various places. And it was a big family and some of them were old also, so they were little tired by the time we reached Radharaman temple. So in Radharaman temple we have a big photograph of Radharaman ji. And by then they had seen so many photographs, so many places. I told, this is Radharaman deity. No one even looked at the photo because they were so tired by then. So then I started sharing the story of Gopal Bhatta Goswami and how Radharaman came. Like how Gopal Bhatta Goswami, seeing that the other Goswamis were worshipping deities, he also wanted, so he went to from Vrindavan all the way to Gandaki river, and when he was taking bath, suddenly few shalagrams jumped into his, he picked up few shalagrams first with a desire to worship them. Then he came all the way to Vrindavan. And then after coming to Vrindavan, he actually thought, actually I am not so qualified to worship shalagram shilas. I should actually go and put them back. How could I disturb them? So he walks all the way to Gandaki river, Nepal again, and puts those shalagram shilas back in the Gandaki river. And suddenly, from inside the water, the shalagram shilas jump back into his hands. Then he again puts down. Then they again jump back into his hands. So in this way, then he realizes that the Supreme Lord wants me to worship him in the form of shalagram shilas. So he brings them back. To cut the long story short, he sees that Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, everyone is worshipping their deities, Radha Govinda, Radha Madan Mohan, in very gorgeous way, dressing them beautifully. But how much you can dress a shalagram shila? So one day he desired that if only I could also have a deity, then I can also worship them, I can dress them nicely like that. The next day morning, the Damodar Shila, one of those Shilas, it expanded into Radharaman deity. And then after telling all this story, and then I gave a background about Gopal Bhatta Goswami also, that he is from Tamil Nadu, he is from Srirangam, and these relatives of mine were also Sri Vaishnavites from Srirangam. So when I told that Shila, which became actually Radharaman deity, is this deity. Then suddenly every single one of them, they just immediately looked up at the photo, and for the next 5 minutes no one moved from that place. When just in the beginning I was telling that this is Radharaman deity, no one saw. They were so tired. But after that they were not willing to leave that temple. This is how association inspires us to appreciate every limb of devotional service. So therefore, Gaura Amar Jesabastane Koralo Brahmana Range, Sesabastana Heribo Ami Pranayi Bakata Sange. So this is not just true with visiting dhams. This is true with every limb of devotional service. We can appreciate it only to the extent to which we have loving association with inspired devotees who really appreciate that limb of devotional service. So therefore, association of devotees is more valuable than association of even the Supreme Lord, because we cannot properly appreciate the Supreme Lord if we do not have proper association of devotees. So we will continue this discussion on this theme tomorrow, because we have already gone past our time. We have few verses we could discuss on this, but we will definitely discuss this theme tomorrow. Thank you very much for your patient listening. So tomorrow when we get together, I will do a very brief recap of the themes that we have discussed today about the glories of association of devotees, and then we will complete this section and move on to the next fourth limb, which is Shri Harinama Sankirtan, fourth most potent limb that we will start discussing tomorrow. Thank you very much for your patient listening. It was great pleasure having your association. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai. Shri Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.